Great, so we're now recording. Hi, I'm James. I'm one third of Sola.
Hi, I'm Sammie Hall.
And yeah, this is the first time we've done anything like this. So if you like it, let us know and we'll give you more content like this. And if there's anything that you specifically want us to talk about or any ways that you think we could improve this kind of content, then yeah, just give us a shout. Let us know in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe. This is a new channel, Sola TV. We're going to be doing some content like this where we're chatting about music, but there's going to be a lot of mixes and free tracks and that sort of thing as well. So yeah, it is release weekend, Sammie.
Yeah, very excited.
So yeah, this is about a third, really, isn't it? About a third of the tracks that we've made together, all in the same EP. It's sort of quite a diverse cross section of the styles that we're making, isn't it?
Yeah, and also in this particular EP, there's something for everyone, you know, because it's every track is very different.
Yeah, there's some sort of dance floor stuff, some liquid stuff, and then some harder. In particular, one track's pretty hard. So yeah, can you tell people how we came to start making music?
Yeah, well, actually, it was from Facebook, and I remember I must have just been scrolling through the news feed, saw a little clip of a video of a liquid track that you'd recorded with one of your daughters, or both of, I think it was just one of your daughters dancing.
Yeah.
And I heard that track and I was like, really like the sound of that. So then I messaged you and said, I'd quite like to write to this track, but it was for your friend Wiggo's album, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It was like a sort of jungle track I made for my friend Adam Wiggo, who unfortunately passed away exactly this time last year. Actually, it's 1 year since he unfortunately passed away. So yeah, you got in contact, and that's when we made. And there's some track names we can't say, isn't there? Because some of our tracks have been signed to like big labels, and they're like, don't sort of mention these tracks or anything until we announce you. So we made blah blah blah, which and we made two different versions. It was such a good vocal. We wanted to make two different versions, which is a theme on this EP. Actually, there's two different versions of two of the tracks on this EP as bonus tracks. So yeah, carry on.
I was going to say, the particular track that you're talking about, we actually wrote and recorded that in the first lockdown, and if I hear it now, I feel nostalgic already.
Yeah, it's funny feeling nostalgic about a track that hasn't been announced yet.
I know, yeah. And only a year ago.
Yeah, and it's still a dub. It's still not out. It's still only been heard by a couple of people. So very very excited to announce that soon when the label owner says that it's okay. The promo should be going out soon, so people may be receiving that very soon. Sola and Sammie Hall. But yeah, so it's about a third of the tracks that we've made, isn't it? And it's like quite a nice cross section. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play some clips from each track, and then we'll just chat about the track. So this is the first one, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I can feel the darkness behind those eyes burning through me. I see through all those lies and all those times that you weren't there, and I got scared of being too close to you.
So this one ended up being the A side. So this one ended up being the A side of the entire EP. Now this one is different from most of the others on this EP because you already had the lyrics ready and written. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, my sister Sophie's fiance Alex, also known as Hypolar, is a producer and DJ, and I've just gone round their house for dinner a couple of years ago.
Oh wow, it's that old.
Yeah, maybe more than
long time in the making.
Yeah, and I just said to Alex, oh, it would be great for me and you to work on a track. And because it was actually Alex that kind of he was the first ever person to take a sample of one of my acoustic tracks and play it in a rave, you know. So that was my first kind of ever experience of that. And I said, oh, me and you should write something together. And turns out that he's actually written quite a few lyrics in the past. So he said, oh, I do happen to have this track. So we just sat there for probably like 15 minutes or something and just wrote that. Yeah, just wrote the lyrics together. So that was one of my first experiences of actually writing with someone, and really enjoyed it. And then we just kind of it was just kind of sat there for a long time.
Yeah,
because obviously, you know, we've both been really busy in our lives with everything. And then that's when we started working together. That's when I thought, oh, maybe you could kind of bring it to life.
Yeah, and I remember you sent me the pianos, which Alex Hypolar played, didn't he? The piano. Yeah. That's not a sample. That's he's played that in. And I remember you sent it to me, and instantly I heard the potential. I was like, this could be like really really good. So we reworked the drums and the basses, and we put in that Reese, and we had it like alternating. Sometimes it drops on the F, and then sometimes it goes up and changes key and drops on the C, and it just gave it like a real moody vibe. And then Paul, who's the Aussie Sola guy, sorry, that's a terrible Aussie accent, but yeah. It doesn't actually sound like that. He's more got more of a city accent than a proper, you know, proper stereotypical accent. But yeah, so he came in and he gave us like some ideas for like variations on the Reese and like some structural advice. And yeah, I mean, of the 5 tracks, that one came together the fastest. It was literally one session of me and Robbie, and then one session with Paul, and then it was basically ready for mixdown. Which compared to some of these tunes, which took, you know, 8 or 9 sessions, this is actually just So, some tunes take longer than others, and this one just fell together basically. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. And we chose it to be the first track on the album. Sorry, not the album. First track on the EP. Not because it's necessarily the strongest. It's very strong, but I think that there are other ones on there. But because it's right in the middle, energy-wise. So there's ones that are like more relaxed and more chilled than it, and there's also ones that are like harder and heavier than it. And what we thought is, if this was the first track that people heard of the EP, then we didn't want it to be too extreme one way or the other, so that they might miss out on hearing any other tunes that they might enjoy basically. So if they're only into sort of liquid, and we'd put Can't Let Go as the first track, they might think it's an entire EP of like hard boom boom boom, you know. And vice versa, if we'd had like Another Lesson as the first track, then people might think that it's just all laid back jazzy liquid, and in fact maybe they'd miss out on hearing something like Lost in the Moment that they'd really enjoy. So that's why we chose this one to be the A side, and it's got quite a lot of good feedback, hasn't it, this one?
Yeah, because I remember when that very evening when I was at my sister's Sophie and Alex's, my sister was like, oh, why don't you record a video? So yeah, I remember posting it on Instagram literally about 2 years ago or so. And it got quite a lot of good feedback then, and it's just been so nice to hear such good feedback and have so many nice messages and shares. I mean, that does seem to be one of the favorites at the moment.
Absolutely. Okay, well, let's move on to Lost in the Moment. I can't talk about who is remixing Close to You right now, but it is going to be the highest profile release to ever come out on Grand Theft Audio, like the highest profile producer to do a remix for us. It's very exciting. He sent over, it's sort of about half done at the moment. He sent over a couple of videos, and I can't lie, I'm really fucking excited. So
yeah, me too.
More news on that soon. So this is Lost in the Moment.
I've been searching for an answer, and looking high and low, and I can't seem to find it. I've been running through the shadows, and stop until I know, and stop until I know. Take me back to that moment with you. The journey was worth all of the scars, not knowing which illusions were true. I wanna stay lost in the moment. Take me back. Hazy moments, forgotten memories. 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 I wanna stay lost in the moment. I've been searching for an answer, looking high and low, and I can't seem to find it. I've been running through the shadows.
Cool. Yeah, so that's Lost in the Moment. That is one that Paul wrote the intro to. Apart from the art that me and Robbie wrote, he wrote all them pads and the horns and everything, and he sent it over, and like it was all right there, and it was just complete, and he didn't have a drop for it, and so we worked with Paul to make that main bass noise. Then me and Rob came in with the wobble, bob, 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 give it like a bit of groove and stuff. But I mean that instrumental just sort of came together really quickly as well. The other thing as well is we changed the way that we made drums this year, and this is the first track to be released with the new drum methods. So listening to it, it's really nice hearing sort of how loud and full the drums are. It's nice. It feels good. It's always nice when you sort of learn something new and you put it into practice, and sort of it feels like an improvement on the old ways that you used to do things. So yeah, that was good. You came up with most of the lyrics to this one, didn't you? And then we had a
Yeah.
session to develop them. So tell me about how that happened, like about your lyric writing process with this tune.
Yeah, well, I feel like at first I did sort of struggle. I kind of had a basic idea down of what we kind of wanted it to be about. So again, this is one of the first ones that I've kind of co-written, and I particularly really enjoyed that session, because like when something just goes really well and it's just like, and you just know it has. So we kind of I'd say it's more like 50-50, you know, with the writing process of that. Yeah, because we would just I don't know, we only how long did we even spend on that? It wasn't even that long.
It was about 20 minutes. You already had the beginning bit. I've been searching with like apologies to anyone watching. I cannot hold a tune to save my life. But yeah, you did the. I'll try not to sing too much on this video. You were like to do a bit with I've been searching, but you also had like the harmonies already written as well. Like I've been searching, you know, and then like they just went together so well. But then you had for your hook, you had that take me back to this moment with you. But you just had that bit repeated, and I was like, no, that can be developed. That can be developed into a verse, and then we'll have like the hook as being something else, and then like the hook just came out straight away. The hazy moments, forgotten memories. That was just like we just wrote it, and it was right. You know, sometimes you write it, and you're like, this is a step in the right direction, but it's not the right lyrics. I'm glad I've written it because it'll help me get to what the correct lyrics are. But sometimes you write it, you're like, bang, that's it, boom.
Yeah, this kind of, you know, like with certain lyrics, it kind of in your mind, it takes you to like a certain place in your memory. And for some reason, this particular track and the lyrics really remind me of a rave that I went to in Amsterdam in the middle of the forest called Deckmantel. And yeah, it just kind of, every time I hear it or think about it or sing it, it just kind of takes me back to that particular memory because, you know, everyone is kind of collectively feeling the same way, aren't they? Just wanting to get lost in the moment again with their friends and just dance all night. And
Absolutely. Right. Unless there's anything else you want to say about Lost in the Moment, we'll move on to the next one.
Okay.
Oh, that's Lost in the Moment's another one that's got a high profile remix. We've got someone, we can't really talk about it yet, but that's going to be coming out on GTA 50, which is coming later on this year. It's going to be a massive 50-track album coming out in the second half of this year, and we've got a remix already finished of that one that we cannot wait to show you because it's by a very talented musician indeed. So here we go.
One of my absolute favourite producers.
Yeah, he's a good lad. Okay, so now on to the title track. We thought "Dreaming of You" EP would be a bit of a mouthful, so we just thought "Dreaming" EP. But this is the title track. This is what it's all about. So yeah, the tune. Everyone's feedback, I'd say, a lot of people, probably somewhere between a third and a half of people who responded to the various sort of promo lists, said that this was their favourite track. It's I really like it. It's probably my favourite tune that I've made, that I've released. So yeah, it's quite a mad one, because I wrote the lyrics, didn't I? To this one, and I wrote it, and when I wrote so I wrote all the sort of variations of Dreaming of You and everything, and then I wrote the rap bit, and I was like, I don't really know how we can work it, because you don't rap.
No.
And and in my head when I was writing it, we're dreaming of better days, drum and bass on the beach, gently lapping waves. I was imagining a sort of like DRS type spoken word vocal, and obviously, like, we sort of had a bit of a conundrum, because obviously you can ask an MC to be on your track, but then you can't say, would you like to be on my track, and then give them lyrics to do. The MC comes on and they do their own lyrics. You don't like. So you were like, give it to me, I'll take it away, and you came back and you'd sung it like just perfectly. And I remember the first time I heard it, like, just the hairs on my back stood on end, and I was like, this is it. This is amazing, and that's absolutely my favourite section, where you're singing that verse.
Yeah, I have to say that this one is my favourite of the whole EP, and I'm very proud of this one. And obviously, you should be very proud of it as well, because if you think, coming up with the whole entire instrumental of it, the melody, the lyrics as well, because this is, I know, like you said before, that you've written quite a few lyrics. Some of them I'm still yet to hear, which I'm quite looking forward to hearing. But this one, if you think about it, it's a whole entire piece, and I really enjoyed singing it, because I haven't really, since I've kind of got into writing and singing to drum and bass tracks, it always seems to be me writing to it, and sometimes I can get quite stuck. So that's what I really love about this, whereas this is actually probably the first original track that I've ever actually sung, that somebody else, that someone else has actually written the whole way through. Yeah, because sometimes that can be the hardest part, coming up with the melody, coming up with the lyrics, and also doing it in a certain amount of time. It can take a very long time, so it's actually really satisfying to have it already written and the melody already written as well. So not only is it my favorite, it's also my dad. He's not into drum and bass, he's in his mid 70s, and he says that that's his favorite one, and he listens to it.
Well, he's welcome to come up and see us play. Tommy and Sola Hall at my birthday bash in August.
Is that so? It's the 20th, isn't it? Of August.
20th of August. Yeah. Can't talk about the lineup yet, but it's going to be big. It's a big lineup.
Can't wait for that.
Very, very.
Because I love Manchester so much. The last time I went, well, I've been a few times to see the Stone Roses at the Etihad, and had a few amazing nights on Canal Street as well. Love it, absolutely love it in Manchester. Everyone's so friendly and so inviting. Like, we made so many friends each time we've come.
Manchester's the best city in the world, bar none, in my opinion. But yeah, so we found a jazz loop and we fell in love with it straight away. That sort of one at the beginning. We added some like vinyl crackle and like layered it with a bunch of sort of other stuff to sort of thicken it out and have more instrumentation. We wanted to make a sort of like a liquid tune, but with sort of a sort of heavy bass and a sort of heavy drums. We didn't want it to be like a sort of light and fluffy tune. We wanted it to have that sort of harder liquid drums with the tasty breaks and stuff. Robbie, who's one of the other members of Sola, he suggested a hip hop beat in the intro, and it worked perfectly. It was just really, really nice. A few of my favourite Liquid tracks have halftime sections, so it was really nice to be able to do a track like this, like a homage to those sorts of tracks. We showed it to Paul, and Paul was like, "Right, boys, this needs saxophones, double bass, etc." Sorry again for my terrible Aussie accent, but yeah, that really helped sprinkle some lushness and some magic into it. Once we got them saxophones in and the double bass and stuff, and he was suggesting putting some fills at the end of sections as well, like at the end of the sort of first section of the drop, and so yeah, like halfway through the first section of the drop, like after the first 8 bars, there's like a sort of tom roll that's out of time but not out of time. It's really sort of weird. It sort of goes into triplets and back, and it's just you sort of notice how weird it is when you try and mix it with another tune. It's got a really weird groove, and then it slams back in again, and everything that Paul suggested just made the tune so much better. It was one of the ones he was quite strapped for time, because he works so hard. Like Paul works so hard in his everyday job, so he didn't have much time while we were writing this, and he was only able to sort of come in for one session and give us some feedback and some ideas, some input. But what he did was just amazing. It wouldn't be the same tune without him, So
I remember hearing it for the first time.
Oh, with the saxophone. When did you hear this? When it already had a saxophone, or before?
No, when it had a saxophone. Yeah, and I absolutely loved it, but I just couldn't come up with because sometimes it just doesn't work, does it? And I couldn't really come up with the lyrics or the melody, and I really loved it, and I knew I really wanted to sing to it.
Well, it is already so full, and part of what we were wondering is because it's got the double bass, it's got the pads and the saxophone, and all these parts. Part of this was like wondering, does it need a vocal? And when you were like, "Oh, I can't come up with anything," but I just had this thing in my head, like dreaming of you, and then you sent me something going, "Oh, I've come up with a melody, but I can't come up with any lyrics." And it was like, "La la 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 la," and I was like,
"Oh yeah,
don't write lyrics, just sing that, just sing la 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 la." That hit my ears right. I was like, what lyrics would you put in that, like, what it has to be like la la la. As soon as I heard it, I was like, those are the lyrics, so then and then obviously, yeah, like I wrote that rap bit which you sang, and that's it, that's the tune. And we came up with a few other sort of dreaming of yous, because we liked the instrumental so much, we have actually included it on the EP. So if you want to get it without vocal, you can do it. It's on the EP, and this is another tune where we've got a high profile remix to come out on Grand Theft Audio. Again, I can't say anything about who it is. It's going to be a surprise, but he has been #1 in the drum and bass charts on Juno at some point in the last 10 days. So that's the only clue that you're getting. You've heard it. What do you think of it?
Absolutely love it.
It's a stinker, isn't it? It's really, really good. So 3 tunes down, 2 to go. So this one is with a guy called Jfal from Bristol. And this is another one that's got a lot of really good feedback from people. So I'm going to play it now.
Maybe you're just another lesson. Maybe you're just another lesson to learn. Maybe you're just another lesson.
So that's another lesson. Tell me about the vocals for this track.
Well, I got approached by a producer asking if they had an EP coming out, and they sent me over a track, and they said they'd love me to write to it. And the lyrics really have no meaning. Sometimes they don't, do they? It's just how it sounds and how it feels. Like it literally, the lyrics mean nothing. So I just loaded it up in my
fuck all.
They literally mean nothing at all. So I put my headphones on, set everything up, played it, and that's what came to me for this track that this producer sent me. And I really loved the tune that they sent me, but I think I know that it was.
Sorry, carry on.
I was going to say it was a little bit maybe out of my range.
Yeah. So they sent you a track, and it was in like it was in a higher key. So when you were hitting those high notes, you just didn't quite have the power. And I was thinking, like, if you sang it in F, then when you hit those top notes, you'd still have all the power. And at that time, our friend Jfal, who's signed to Grand Theft Audio, he's an absolutely fantastic producer. He had sent us this liquid track that was in F. And so I said to you, if that producer doesn't want those lyrics, I think they'd go fantastically over this track. So I sent it to you, and it just worked so much better in F. It was like, yeah, and sometimes it is like that. You write a song in a key, and you put it in a different key, and it just sounds so much better. And this was one of those cases, wasn't it?
Yeah, it just felt so much better to sing, because they obviously heard it with me slightly stretching my voice, and it wasn't really right for that track. No. So I did say no vocals are ever wasted. They're always going to be used for something else, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. And so then they just seemed to fit to that because it was in the perfect key for me.
Well, let this be a lesson to any producers out there working with Sammie Hall. If you don't use vocals quickly enough, then Sola are going to swoop in and steal them. Turn them into a banger.
There'd be no stealing. I'll be sending them straight to you.
So that's the first track that's coming out of the Sola collabs with Jfal. So yeah, he had the intro ready to go, and a lot of the drop. We added some layers, some changes, some bass bits, and everything. And then we turned around after the tune was finished, and we chopped out half your vocal. Yeah, which I'm sure felt great as a singer. The vocals you did were absolutely amazing, but in terms of the whole EP, we wanted to create like a drop that didn't have vocals at that time. So yeah, we turned it into two versions, didn't we? There was the extended vocal mix, and then this version. And because we love the original vocal so much, we have put it on the EP as well. So there's two versions of Another Lesson. One that sort of drops into the just the bass line on its own with some vocal effects, and then one that's got the full verse that carries on over the vocal. But how did that feel when it got divided into two?
Well, I actually prefer the track with less vocal, because with the track, for example, with the full vocal, it's kind of hard to imagine until somebody kind of takes over and makes a few changes. Because obviously the first version felt the most comfortable and felt right. But then when I heard the second version, I just really love the instrumental of it. So it's kind of nice to have two options. But yeah, I feel like sometimes it's better for the simplicity to have. And less is more sometimes,
I agree, and obviously, as someone who owns both versions to play out, I can imagine. It just depends what's going on in the tune that you're mixing it with. If you're mixing it with a tune where there's also lyrics, then you're best off using the version that's an instrumental on the drop. But if you're mixing it with one that's an instrumental, then you could conceivably use either. But it's I'm glad that we made the change, and I'm glad that you were so gracious about it, because I do think that push come to shove, I think I probably do prefer the version that drops onto that sort of jazzy bass, because that is a full enough drop without a vocal being over the top. And it's definitely one of the tunes that's got the best feedback. I think it's a very mature sound, very jazzy, full and musical sound, and very, very, very deep, and I'm really proud of it. And Jfal did a really, really good job on those pads and bass line.
Did, yeah,
really, really good. Okay, so the last one is Can't Let Go. This is the heavy one. So let's play it now.
I can't let you go.
Cool. So that's the last track. That's the heaviest track by country mile. So we just wanted to include some of our sort of heaviest stuff as well. That's also the one with the least lyrics from you. There's literally 4 words in there. I can't let you go. I think isn't one of the variations as well. I won't let you go. And there might be a no in there. No, I won't let you go. But yeah, very, very sparse on the lyrics. We did have a lyric writing session which lasted an hour, where we decided at the end of it that that's it. Sometimes less is more, like you say. This one didn't need a big verse and a hook and a bridge section and loads of ad libs. This was just enough vocals to drive the tune forward and let the bass line carry the tune. So it's like one of those situations where your vocals I think this is the only one where your vocals take a bit of a back seat, where the other 4 are very, very vocal led. This one just happens to have your vocal on. So what do you think of the song?
Yeah, well, this is the one that seems to kind of get stuck in my head every now and again.
Oh, really?
Just randomly, yeah, because I was looking for some co-writers. So I put a post on Facebook a while ago, and I actually connected with somebody called Arturo.
Oh yeah, Arturo.
In Mexico. Yeah, really, really lovely guy. He's a producer and DJ. He goes under the name of May. I don't know if it's not 917 or 917. I'm not too sure. But yeah, really, really lovely guy. And he actually wrote some lyrics for another track. And I just kind of felt that I Can't Let You Go would just kind of be perfect for our EP.
Oh yeah, that's right. I Can't Let You Go was the first line of a verse, but the rest of the verse didn't fit, but the first line did. So it's kind of the opposite of Lost in the Moment, where you had that one lyric that was repeated 4 times, and we decided to develop that so that was the first line, and then all the rest followed. Whereas in this one, you had that with 4 different lines, and we just repeated the first one. So yeah, different songs call for different solutions. It's like both of them are sort of a mirror image of each other in terms of the songwriting process there.
And yeah, and you know, just like when a certain hook kind of just gets stuck in your head, and I just kept having "I Can't Let You Go" just stuck in my head all the time. So I was like, oh, there's something about this, and sent it over to you. You seem to already have this track that was already made.
Yes, well,
it was like a ready-made track, wasn't it?
Well, the reason why it was a ready-made track is I don't know if you remember this, but this song is also on that big EP that's coming out in a couple of months' time on that big label that we can't talk about. But there was a track on there, and this was the drop from that track. And label, yes, and that also has you on it. And the label said, I really like the intro and the vocals, but the drop's just too intense to go with the with the other tracks on the EP. And the guy's an absolute legend. He's absolutely right. And I'm so glad that we redid the drop to fit in with the other stuff that's on that EP on that big label.
Yeah, because it kind of
took a little bit left that drop on its own. Sorry, what were you saying?
I was going to say it's sort of like listening to it at first. It took a little bit of getting used to, because all I could hear was that other drop, and I was like a massive fan of that other drop, you know. And yeah, it kind of, at first, hearing the first section of it and the drop, I don't know, like maybe the first time I heard it, I wasn't sure if it kind of gelled. But then after hearing it quite a few times, I'd actually
talking about this tune or the tune that's coming out on that other EP?
This tune, and I'd actually forgotten until you said just then. I just see this as one tune now, you know. Same.
It took me so long. So we, like, the other tune has a moody intro, and so I was saying to Robbie, why don't we just give this like a really trancy, happy intro? And Robbie was like, I don't know if it goes. And I said, I don't know if it goes. And we were working on it for ages, and we were literally, every time we worked on it, Robbie would say, I think that this is still 2 tunes, and that the trancy intro needs to go with a different drop, and that this drop needs a different intro, like a third intro it would have been to this drop that we'd written. And every time I was like, I agree. If we can't get it to sound right, then I agree. That's what we have to do. But then we had the idea of filtering in the bass. So on that sort of build up, it goes sort of, you know, like filtered up. And we were like, oh, brilliant. It joins now. It feels like a single cohesive piece of music, not like, you know, 2 disparate ideas, one intro and one drop that don't go together. And obviously your vocals as well. That's the other joining factor of runs through the track. And now it just feels like a complete track. It doesn't feel like 2 different tracks anymore, which is absolutely great. So yeah, Paul wrote a lot of the intro to the original intro for this tune, which is now that other tune. But he also wrote all the switchy drums, and that just disgusting. We used to wonder, goes just after the break, you go, Like he sent that to me, and I was like, "Fucking hell, Paul! I need a fucking shower." But yeah, like me and Robbie just went to town making the intro as like trancy and euphoric as possible. And it's like a sort of misdirection. You think it's going to drop into like a Camel and Crooked type tune, or maybe like metric, and then it just drops into like absolute disgusting filth. And like me and Robbie had a lot of fun with that, especially once we knew that was it, that was the tune, and it was going to be that trancy bit, and it was going to be the final intro to this sort of switchy drop with the heavy bass lines and everything. We were like, yeah, we're really going to go to town. And then you sent over that ad lib, the one that goes,
yeah.
we were like, yeah, this will really fool them. They're going to think this is going to be the happiest drop ever, and it's just not. It's absolutely yeah. Whew.
Yeah, it's hard to get used to. Like when you get used to a track in a certain way, like the one we can't talk about.
Yeah.
But then now, as we were saying, yeah, it just works well, doesn't it?
Yeah, really well. The other thing that I noticed when I listen to all of those tracks is that I hear Nathan's voice, because I've heard our mini mix that we made, that's also on this channel, Solar TV. If you sort of have a look at our other videos, you'll see it. We made a 24-minute mini mix that contained all of these tracks, and one that we wrote with Nathan as well. And Nathan raps on it. Tell me, what was it like creating that? Because I haven't really seen many sort of videos like that in lockdown that have like sort of, I've seen a lot of live streams, obviously everyone has, but ones with like singers singing on them, and even not that many with MCs. What was it like?
No, well, it's nice for him to kind of join it all together, you know, because there can be a lot of kind of instrumental between each track, so it kind of bridges the gap between each track,
balances out your voice. I found it was a lot more work than I thought. It was quite grueling.
Yeah, honestly, like we thought it could probably just be done in one session or a couple of hours or whatever, but
yeah,
you know, when you're like working a full-time job and you've got children and you've got all the bits in between, and you're very tired in the week, and what I've realized with music, everything takes a lot longer than I originally anticipate.
Well, I think that's one of the downsides of being a perfectionist. Everything takes longer than you think, so it takes a little while to sort of factor in how pedantic you're going to be about certain things. Like the amount of times that I've said to you that ad-lib's 99% of the way there, but if you sing it one more time, I really think that you'll I really think that you'll be pleased that you did. And I'm sometimes right, aren't I?
Oh no, like it's like I love that, because I'm also a perfectionist as well, and sometimes I feel like I can sometimes probably get on people's nerves, because I want to do everything I want to do things time and time again until it's perfect. Like I don't care how long it takes, and that's really important to me. But sometimes you can't always hear something, you know. So if you say to me, and you know, I'm always going to 100% trust your judgment no matter what, so I will always say, okay, yeah, I'll do it again, and I will just keep on doing it, even if it takes me 2 weeks, you know, every day to record something. If it's going to lead to it being perfect, I don't want to be listening to something, and neither do you, later on thinking, oh, I wish I did that again, you know.
I think we're very lucky when you think about the times that we've talked about this before, times that we've spent in the past with writer's block. We're very lucky at the moment to be sitting down, and every single session we're making progress on tracks. I can't remember the last time I sat down to make music and couldn't create something, couldn't improve something, couldn't move something along. I think it's literally been over a year, and I'm in the studio every single day, and I know you are as well, always writing lyrics. So
and also what's
very lucky and very, very blessed. But what that means is that when you're making so much music, you're improving at such a rate that if you think that's good enough now, then in 3 months you're going to be like, oh, why did I think that was good enough? So, and you're improving at that rate as well. And so I say to you, well, that's good enough. But in 3 months' time, 6 months' time, at the rate that you're improving, you're going to look back on that and think, I wish I'd done another thing.
It's hard to see and hard to believe at the time, isn't it? But
yeah,
it's always a way when you look back on 3 months. Although I must say, when I look back on what we've done, I kind of don't feel that way. I'm totally happy with everything. I know it's only really been in the last year, but I'm still just as happy with on that particular, the first nostalgic track, you know.
Yeah.
I'm still just as happy as when I was.
What's interesting about that is one of the mix downs I did, because it's two different tracks. Because there's like two different versions of the track, both of them coming out on the same EP. And one of them I really nailed the mix down, and the other one, the mix down was absolutely fucking awful. Like, I thought it was the best at the time. It was the best mix down I'd ever done, and I was so happy with it. And then when it got signed to this big label, it was like, yeah, everything's great, but what's with the mix down on this track? And I was like, part of me was thinking, what do you mean this is my best mix down? Because at the time it was my best mix down. And I went back and I was like, oh my God, why haven't I done that? Oh my God, why haven't I done that? Oh my God, what's up with that? And I was like really shocked that there was so much of what I consider quintessential to our finished sound now as Sola that was missing off of that track. And like you say, we only started working on it about 10 months ago. So yeah, that was quite shocking. It never feels like you're making progress at the time, but once a few months pass, then you can see it.
But there's also something to say with when, say for example, when I first ever worked with somebody recording my vocals, which was like, I don't know, it seems weird saying 3 years ago because of lockdown, you know. I feel like it's 1.5 years
it's only 1.5 years of like actual going out.
And it's like that was like one of the best experiences I'd ever had, because I'd never actually done that before. But then when I listen back, it's good because it's kind of a benchmark of how much you've kind of improved and everything, you know. But then when I listen to our tracks that we first started with, I think because we were so thorough with it, and something that I might have thought was good enough, or you know, just have it's like a proper collaboration where you might notice something that I don't notice, or I might notice something you don't notice, you know. And just getting it until it's absolutely spot on. I don't listen to any of our tracks and think, oh, I should have done this better, which is actually a first time for me, you know, because we're all quite critical of our past work, aren't we?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I think we've been chatting about long enough now. The time's just absolutely flown by. I've got no idea how long this video is now.
I have no idea.
At the time, to the two people that have listened all the way to the end, thank you very much for letting me and Sammy chat on about music and stuff. This has been fun. I was a little bit nervous about it, which is why I didn't want to go live with it straight away on Instagram Live.
Maybe we should have done, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I think what we'll do next time.
It would have been fine.
Yeah, what we'll do next time is we'll live stream it, and then if anyone's watching, they can ask us some questions and stuff. But this has been really great. We'll get this uploaded and onto the YouTube channel. So if you're watching right now, you already know this because you're watching it on the YouTube channel. But yeah, thank you very much for chatting to me today about our EP, Sammy.
No, it's been lovely.
It's currently just breaking into the top 100 on Juno, so hopefully we'll see that go up a bit this week. If you want to buy it, the link will be in the description, and you can go and buy either the whole EP or just your favourite tracks from it. And yeah, thank you for tuning in to seeing me and Sammy chat about our music. Bye-bye.
Bye.